What's up YouTube, photographer Ronix from Ronix Photography, and today welcome to yet another retouching video. And today we are going to be dealing with this photo. This was shot in the makeup studio, and as you can see, this photo was taken with a Canon 6D camera, and it is a raw file as you can see. And the settings, it was shot at f8 at 200 of a second, and the ISO was 200, and it was shot using a 50mm lens. For my lighting, I had a newer speed light which was put in an 80x80 softbox, and I created my own reflector. So we are going to start retouching this image, and you can see the models had really a nice skin and they are really beautiful as you can see. So we're going to start by doing the basic adjustments for this photo. So first of all, I prefer to first pull down my whites because of the background, so I'll also pull my highlights down to -73. So right now I'm going to pull in my blacks because I want to bring back the contrast in this image. Yeah, and for the contrast I prefer to add in a little because I pulled my blacks all the way down, and this is what I do for almost all my raw files. So I just come right here, let me add in a little contrast, around 5 will do. So I come to my shadows, so I'm going to pump this a little bit up. As you can see, this is where we are. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add in some little clarity like 6 and some little vibrance to this image. So yeah, because I want the image to pop a little bit. So this is so far so good. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do any other adjustments. Let's first do the retouching and fine-tuning of this image. So I'm going to open our image in Photoshop. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to this channel and you're watching this video, I kindly beg you to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on the videos when we do upload. I don't know what's wrong with me today. So this is our image. So first of all, we are going to start by duplicating our background layer by clicking Ctrl+J on your keyboard, or you just drag and drop here. So after duplicating, usually I prefer using my patch tool. I decided to separate all my tools because it is always under here. You right click and you can find these three. So this is our patch tool. So I'm going to start editing this image. So I'm going to zoom in because I want first deal with the simple blemishes or little imperfections in this photo. As you can see, our models really had some really nice skin, and I don't know, even at f8 she was slightly out of focus, but nevertheless we are going to retouch this image. So we are going to look for those little skin imperfections, and since she had close to a perfect skin, we are going to do less of this, so the work is not going to be so much. So I'm going to do away with this little lining in this photo, so you can see. And then I'm going to come right down, and these are not pimples, these are like moles on her skin, so we are going to leave those. We are not going to touch any because yeah, they are like a sign of beauty to the model, like they add some defined beauty to the model's skin. So it would be bad for us or weird or unfair if we remove this from her skin. So we are going to come to our second model, yeah, and we are going to remove this, select and drag. So that is done. And even this side you can see. So I'm going to come right here. I remove these little blemishes from the skin. So, and the good thing with the patch tool, you retain your texture in the image because we sample from a different area but which still has the same texture. So I'm going to continue removing these little blemishes. Yeah, so and for this photo I'm going to be using frequency separation. I'm going to be using our mixture brush tool in Photoshop. So yeah, let me first do away with this. I don't know what happened right here. I think I'm going to try to fix this because it's going to be looking weird to where people are going to be viewing this image from a distance. So I'm going to remove these little things. I think the makeup went towards her hair, so that's why you're seeing this brownish effect in the hair too. So yeah, so make sure when you're retouching, don't rush with your images because you can see before after, so far before after. So make sure you take your time and you get the best out of your portrait. So this is how far we are right now. I have something little here I have to do away with. Yeah, so this is it for this. So guys, I even forgot to crop this image. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to crop it right now. So I'm going to crop it a little bit because I want the focus to be on our model. So I think this will do and it kind of looks balanced enough. So I'll click enter. Then I'm going to come to my frequency separation action, and if you don't have it, I'll make sure I put a link down in the description so that you can download it and fasten your work when you're doing your retouching. So I come to my actions, then I click frequency separation, then I'm going to play the action. So for this we are going to be using, I'm going to use a radius of around 10, yeah, because it gives me the perfect texture of the skin. So if you may be asking why I chose 10, yeah, that's the reason. So I'm going to continue. So I'm going to come to my frequency separation, drop this down, and I'm going to come and create a black and white layer on top of our high frequency because we need something that is going to guide us when we are mixing the skin tones. So you can see that is going to guide us. So I come to my lower frequency, then I'm going to come to my mixture brush tool. If you don't have it, you right click on the brushes and you'll get your mixture brush tool, but mine, I got it out for easy retouching. So this is my mixture brush tool. So I'm going to come and I'm going to select here. I make sure my brush is cleaned and this is unchecked. My wetness is at 10, my load is at 75%, my mix is 90%, and my flow is at 100%. Make sure sample all layers is not checked. So after selecting my lower frequency, I'm going to come zoom in a little bit and make sure when you're mixing you don't over zoom in because we want to edit this photo the way someone is going to be looking at it, and they won't have to over zoom in the photo or the image while looking at it. They will have to look at it the way you're going to retouch it. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. So you're going to start mixing, and when you're mixing, make sure you mix the highlights alone, the midtones alone, and the shadows alone so that you don't create some imperfections in the model's skin. So I'm going to start mixing, guys. You're seeing the black and white is guiding us, it's showing us, yo, we should mix here and you shouldn't mix here. So I come, I mix. You can see it is really guiding us so well. And if you don't have the black and white layer created, you may have like a hard time locating on where the highlights and the midtones and the shadows, or where the skin tones are not matching or they are imperfect. So I come, I mix right here, as you can see. Then I come, we have midtones here, I mix. So we are like harmonizing the skin tones on the model's faces. So let me show you guys. I'm going to turn off the black and white. I'm going to show you the before, after. So it really has to be subtle enough, and you don't have to overdo one area for long, because you may end up losing most of the skin tones. So yeah, I'm going to come. So increasing your brush size, you use the right and left brackets on your keyboard. So yeah, we continue mixing, and where you really see some imperfections in the skin tones, I think she's done. So I'm going to come right to our second model, and yeah, I prefer to first work on the faces first before I can go to the other areas of the skin or the body. So what I'm doing, I'm mixing. As you can see, I'm remaining the shadows. So when it is time to mix the midtones, I mix the midtones separately. I just don't drag my mixture brush from the highlight to the shadows, because yeah, I want to keep up with the shape and my texture. And when you're mixing, don't move from one area to another. Make sure you remain within the boundaries or the borders of the skin tones you're trying to do the mixing. So you can see now I'm on the chin area. We had some imperfections here. So yeah, let me show you guys the before and after, so that some of you may be wondering, what is this guy doing? So you can see before, after, before, after. So I'm going to continue mixing, and this is way better than using the lasso tool and Gaussian blur, because when you're using the other method, you apply the blurring twice and you may end up losing texture in the skin. So I think I've tried them both, and yeah, I think this is, yeah, when you're using this mixture brush tool, I think you're better off than using the lasso tool. That's what I think. Yeah, I'm not saying the other one is bad, but that's what I think of the two methods of editing. So I'm mixing the arm area. So yeah, the neck. Make sure you mix each and every area, since this is like a glamour or beauty shot. So I'm going to come to our second model. I'm going to mix her chest area. Yeah, you can see I'm mixing every highlight alone and every shadow alone, the midtones alone. So where there are little imperfections, I'm trying to do the mixing of the skin tones. I'm harmonizing the skin tones. Actually, that is more of a better word to use. So I'm here mixing. You can see we have a shadow here, so I mix. Yeah, this is way better. And if you're learning something from this channel and you're not subscribed, kindly subscribe to this channel, so that you keep following up and supporting us to be doing more videos. And if you have something or a question, you can drop it in the comment section, so that yeah, we can give you feedback. Maybe in another video we can upload later on. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys how far we have come with this specific image. So turn off my black and white. I'm going to show you guys the before and the after. Before, after, before, after. You can see how amazing the image still looks natural enough, and we have not lost the detail in this specific photo. So I think we are done mixing. So this is it. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to delete our black and white layer, because right now it is useless, I should say. So I'm going to start dodging and burning this image, and when you're dodging and burning, we're going to be using our curves adjustment layer. So I'll just come here and select curves. So first of all, when you're dodging, we dodge the highlights. So I'm going to pull this up a little bit. Control I on your keyboard to invert. Make sure this is selected. I'm going to name this dodge, and I'm going to come right here again to the curves, but this time I'm going to do darkening. Oh, that is too much. So Control I on your keyboard, and this is going to be burn. So I'm going to hold down Alt and click on these two layers, then you control and select them, then Control G on your keyboard to group them, and I'm going to select my burn layer. So I'm still going to create black and white. I'm going to create black and white again. It is going to be guiding us, showing us the most highlighted and the darkened areas we are going to do our dodging and burning on. So this is going to do for us. So I select my dodge layer, the mask, and select my brush. Make sure the opacity is at 100 and the flow is at 14%. So when you're dodging, you dodge the highlight. So I'm going to look for the highlighted areas and I'm going to paint on them. So yeah, we have a highlight in around her nose area. You have some little highlight. Yeah, right here on top of the eye. You can see. So make sure you don't over zoom in when you're dodging and burning. So we have a highlight here. We're going to dodge there too. Reduce my brush. We have these little highlights, and it is these little things that make a difference in your portraits at the end of the day. So you shouldn't leave them out when you're editing your photos. So let me show you guys how far we have come. Turn off my black and white. You can see before, after. You can see how our image is glowing. And so right now I'm going to turn back my black and white. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I want to work on this highlight or the highlights on the lip area. So yeah, I paint over then this lining on top of her lip. Yeah, on the top of her lips. I don't know. Yeah, I paint. We have a highlight here, then on her ear. So let me first do these little highlights so that I can zoom back out so that I can continue doing my process well. So I think this is enough. So I'm going to zoom out and continue on with our dodging of the second model's face. So we have a highlight on her nose. It was highlighted. Yeah, then around her cheekbones. So now you're going to come right here on her chin area. We have some little highlight. Then her arm is highlighted. So I'm going to increase on my brush size. Yeah, so we have some little highlight here. And since this area is really dark, I may prefer to paint completely using our highlight. So let me show you guys the before and after for our dodging. Before, after. You can see the difference it is making to our image. So now we are going to start burning. So when you are burning, we burn the shadows, and when I'm burning, I prefer to reduce on the flow to around 8% because I don't want to over darken these areas. So I'm going to start burning. Yeah, we had that. So I'm going to come right here. We have a shadow on her eye. Yeah, so it is these little things that create the magic in your portraits, and they do create the difference in your images at the end of the day. So right now we are doing the burning. We are burning the shadows and creating, maybe we should say creating depth in this image. So you can see right now where we are. So we have some. So we are burning, we continue burning. So you guys, I think this is enough for the burning. Let me show you guys before, after. You can see a difference. Dodging and burning really creates our photos. So what I'm going to do, still I'm going to delete this. I think it really thinks I hate it so much. After using it, I dump it. So anyway, this is our dodging and burning. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to brighten the eyes. So for brightening the eyes, usually I'm going to use my camera raw filter to brighten the eyes. So I'm going to click Shift Ctrl Alt E on the keyboard to create a layer, a visible layer, and duplicate it, Ctrl J. Then come to Filter, Camera Raw Filter, and now I'm going to use my adjustment brush, or you can click K on your keyboard. And yeah, when you select it, make sure your temperature is -30, or you could even pull it all the way to -34. The tint is +45, and the highlights around 10 will do, and the whites +5 or +6. The others are usually at their defaults. So, and make sure the saturation is all the way down to at least -75 can do for this photo. So I'm going to zoom in to the eye area because we want to whiten the eyes and give it that popping feel. So make sure you paint very well, because you wouldn't want to paint on the area of the skin because it is going to be desaturated since we reduce the saturation of our brush, so it will be taking off some color from the image. So you can see, make sure you only keep painting in the white area of the image. So right now we are doing the whitening of the eyes of the models. So you can see we come, and make sure you're really accurate and you're not in a rush, because you wouldn't want to mess up something really beautiful that you have come creating for over 15 minutes. So this is the image. So I'm going to zoom out so that you guys can see how far it is looking. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to intensify, because I want those eyes to be attracting to whoever is going to be looking at them and look at this photo and they be like, yeah, wow, this is really beautiful. So that is the major focus of doing this beauty portrait. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come right here to our camera calibration, and I'm going to play around with these sliders because I want some specific look. So I'm going to pull up my blue primaries. Then I'm also going to come to my green channel, and I'm going to pull this back a little bit. You can see the difference right now. Now I'm going to come to my red primary, and you can see if I pull it all the way, that is not nice. Pull, not nice. So it has to be really little. I don't want something orange, so it has to be somehow little. You can see. And for the rest of the color grading, we are going to go back to our Photoshop, and we are going to be using our gradient map. So this is the before after. It is really small and subtle enough. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here to our selective color, and I'm going to pull my cyans down a little bit, and I'm going to add in some little bit of yellows. Yeah, this is enough. So I'm going to come to my gradient maps, select, and click right here, single click. And if you don't have all this, just come right here and look for photographic toning, click append. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be using gold 1 and gold 2 for color grading this photo, because they are my favorite, and I love that golden feel to my portrait. So I come, make sure this is selected, and use soft light. So it it is too much for my liking, so I'm going to turn down the opacity. Yeah, to around 14 will do, 13, 14. So I'm going to come back, but this time I'm going to use gold 2. Yeah, so we are adding skin tones to this photo, so I'm going to reduce the opacity of this. You can see how beautiful it is looking and how attractive it is. So yeah, right now we are done color grading. So if at all you're learning something, remember to hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit the like button. So yeah, here we are right now. So I think she's kinda really dark around this area. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to merge all these, Shift Ctrl Alt E on the keyboard. Yeah, then I'm going to come to my curves, adjustments, layers, curves. Then I'm going to brighten it up a little bit, not so much, but this is going to be, so Ctrl I, you invert. So make sure this is in the foreground. Yeah, white is on top because we are going to start painting using a white brush on black. So I'm going to paint around this area because it was really looking too dark for my liking. So, and make sure you're really careful while painting because you don't want to mess up the image at the end of the day. So we are trying to brighten these areas. So yeah, I think this is good. Before, after. So what I'm going to do, let me first zoom in because I feel like I've missed out on some specific areas while I was painting. Yeah, so this is frequency separation using a mixture brush tool in Photoshop. So you can see this is our image right now. So let me show you guys before, after. So we're brightening these areas up. So this is the video about, this is a tutorial, yeah, of course it is a video about frequency separation in Photoshop, and we are using a mixture brush tool, and we did color grading and we did the eye whitening. Then we also added the skin tones in this photo, and we did dodging and burning. So I'm going to group all these, Ctrl G on the keyboard after selecting them. Then I'm going to show you guys the before and after. This was the before, after, before, after. So you can see a difference, before, after. And if you have learned something from this video, kindly subscribe to this channel and hit the like button, and don't forget to drop a comment if at all you have any feedback you would like to give us, and if at all you want us to edit your photos in the future, kindly drop the link so I can select the photos I'm going to be editing the next time. Yeah, or I would also want to edit photos taken by another photographer and I see how it will turn out. So if you have learned something, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to drop a comment. I'm Ronix from Ronix Photography. Thank you for watching. Till next time.